In this lesson, we're going to talk about the basic things that we have to know about a complex number, and we're also going to do a lot of examples. So I hope you guys can enjoy the video. Let's get started. Okay, so this one is a complex number, and obviously this one will be my imaginary part, and this one will be my real part. So this is the basic thing you have to know about a complex number. So the one with the I will always be my imaginary part, and the one without the I will always be my real part. So this one is a constant number. So if you guys see the constant number, it means that it is your real part. And if you guys see this type of number with the I, it means it is your imaginary number. But this one's kind of like an obvious thing. So you're not going to encounter with this type of question. They're not going to say which one's the real part and which one's the imaginary part most of the time. But what they're gonna ask you in the questions is they might say like for example, they might say they're gonna give you some constant number like we can say 4, and then they're gonna ask you to find the real part and the imaginary part without we're only giving this constant number. So if you guys got that type of question, what you have to do is just this one or your question will be your real part and the imaginary part will be you have to add 0. So when you add 0, it will be 4 plus 0i. And then you're gonna say this one is my imaginary part. So this is the type of question that they're gonna ask you. So they're gonna give you some constant number and they ask you to find which one's the real part and which one's the imaginary part. So you're gonna do it this way, just add 0i. So that's all you have to do when you counter this type of stuff. Okay, now let's go to some formulas that you have to know all the time. So when you guys say these formulas are the basic formulas. So we're gonna apply these formulas in when we do some questions. So I want you guys to understand and try to apprehend these formulas. And if you got some free time, you're trying to take in these formulas, it's gonna help you a lot. So all the time, I is always equal to this root -1 and r squared is always equal to -1 and r cubed is always equal to minus r. And this one's kind of like a special one because we're gonna use it most of the time. So r to the 4 is always equal to number 1 or always equal to 1. So I hope you guys wrote down this whole formula. So now let me use these formulas and let's do some questions. Let's apply these whole things in questions and examples. So now let's give it examples. Okay, so when we count the examples, well, my first example says that root -25. So when you counter this example, you can obviously know that this one is a complex number since we got this negative inside of the root. So if I got this type of question, what I want to do is just I want to separate them. I want to write it like this. I just want to say -1 times by this one is actually 1. So -1 times by root 25. Now it means that I separate them. So when you separate them, it means that you got this -1. So after you separate them, what you have to do is just since in my formula, as you guys know, I is always equal to root negative 1. So what this means is my I will be so this one will be I since I is always equal to root -1. So I can't change this to I. So it will be I times by root 25 is 5. So I times by 5 will be 5i. And then that will be my answer done. So if you guys got this type of equation like root -25 or for example, for instance, we can also say, root 81, -81, it will be 9i. So it will always be this type of stuff. So that's what you have to do. Just separate them first and then multiply by I, and your last answer will be in this type of stuff. So I hope you guys understand the concept. Now let's go to the second one. The second one, this one is not a square root sort of number. So what I want to do is just, as obviously it's just the same procedure. So let me separate them. When I separate them, I'm gonna get -1 times by root 2, -1 times by root 2, and -1 in a root will be I, then I times by root 2, and then it will be root 2i. So this is my answer done. It's so easy. So all you have to do is just separate them and then multiply with I, and then you're gonna get the answer. So now let's go to some other type of questions. So when you count to C, says different than that of the previous questions. So what I want to do if I got this type of question is, as I told you in the previously when we talked about the formulas, I told you that I to the fourth is the special one because I to the fourth is we're gonna use it all the time. So I to the fourth is always one. So what I want to do is just if I got I to the seventh is uh I wanna divide 7 by 4. So when you divide 7 by 4, you're gonna get 1. So 1 times about 4 is 4. So it will be 3 then. So now what I want to do is just I to the fourth is equal to I to the third. So all you gotta do is just divide the power by 4 all the time. Just this is kind of like a pattern. You're gonna use it all the time. So I want you guys to listen to me. So all the time, if you got this type of question, this type of question, this type of question, just divide the power by 4, and your answer will be, your answer will equal to your remainder. What I'm trying to say is I get the remainder when I divide this 7 by 4. So my remainder is always equal to my question. So that's what I meant to say. So my remainder is always equal to my question. So what this means is I to the 3 is equal to I to the 7. So these are equal. So as you guys know, I to the third is always equal to negative I, and then this will be my answer done. So I to the 7 is equal to I to the 3, and I to the 3 is always negative I. So for that reason, my answer will be negative I. So what if you don't have any remainder? We're going to talk about that one when you counter this question. But if you got the remainder, just all the time, your remainder is equal to your question, and then your remainder will be your answer. So that's all you have to do. And you also have to simplify it until you get to, I to the 2, I to the 3, I to the 4. So make sure that you have to simplify until you get the power, until you get the power to I to the 3 or I to the 4 or I to the 2 or I itself. So let me do this question. Okay, now I want you guys to stop the video and try try this next question. As always, just all you have to do is just divide the power by 4, and then your remainder will equal to your question, and then you're gonna get the answer done. So when I divide 102 by 4, this is 25. So 25 by 4 is 100, and then this will be then 2. So 2 is my remainder. So I to the 102 is equal to I to the 2. So I to the 2 is what? I to the 2 is negative 1. The negative 1 will be my answer done. So I hope you guys understand the concept when you count to the remainder. So if you guys got the remainder, your remainder is always equal to your question, and that will be your answer done. Then you're gonna get the answer if you got the remainder. So what if you don't have any remainder? This question, I don't think we're gonna get a remainder when you divide it by 4, because you're gonna get, look at just when you divide 100 by 4, it will be 25. So 25 by 4 is 100. So when you don't have any remainder, what you have to do is all the time your answer will be 1. The reason for that is if you don't have any remainder, it means that your question is equal to I to the 4. Then I to the 4 is always 1. So my answer will be 1 then. So that's how you deal with a type of question that has no remainder. Your answer will always become 1 because it is equal to I to the 4. So I hope you guys understand the concept. So that's how you deal with the type of question, that has a power and also this sort of stuff. And I hope you guys get something from this video. So thanks for watching and have a nice time.